This is Jean Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds.
We have been married for over 20 years.
And in that time, we have learned a few things that we'd like to share with you.
So if you're single, newlyweds, or seasoned in marriage, we think you will enjoy the upcoming program.
Absolutely. And we want you to like, engage, share, and do all of those wonderful things that we do on Instagram, Facebook, and every other social media outlets. Send us DMs. We want to hear from you.
This is
Love in 60 Seconds.
60 seconds. Love in 60. Love in 60 seconds.
Hey, who we matching?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
I don't know who's matching.
We are matching.
Yeah.
This is Frederick and Jean Watts, and this is Love in 60 Seconds. We are live tonight on Facebook, Instagram, and all those good places. So
what up, though?
So nice to see you guys. So as we're waiting for our Facebook people to come in and YouTube and Instagram, I just want to say hello. Jean's going to say something while we get everything all set up.
Hello, everyone. And we are grateful for everyone that is on tonight. We're going to talk about some really good stuff. Hope everybody had a great weekend last weekend. Hope everybody had a great week. We're going to get into it tonight. We're going to talk about some kind of difficult, but just stuff that everybody deals with from time to time. So it's all good. Hey, Sister Angela Moore. We love her so much. She's so sweet. Oh my gosh. I'm going to talk about stuff and kind of, hey, Lisa, good to see and hear from you. We're going to talk about stuff in relationships and that really is going to be useful and helpful as far as, keeping your marriage and keeping your relationships, not just your marriage, but keeping your relationship from getting into a really gross, dud, rut, dry, boo place, because it can happen. It can happen. And it doesn't take a long time for it to happen. It doesn't take some kind of huge situation to happen. It can just happen. So we're going to talk about that and how, what it is. We're really talking about like the spirit of apathy. You know what I'm saying? Apathy. And we'll talk about what apathy is.
So appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Continue to like and share this message. Those of you that are watching on Instagram, God bless you guys. Those that are watching you on Facebook and YouTube, bless you as well. So we're going to get into it tonight. We're talking about apathy. So what is apathy?
You tell me what apathy is. How was your trip when you went out of town? Where'd you go?
It's long.
Where did you go? You went to
Ecuador.
You went to Ecuador. How was Ecuador? It was very quick though, right?
It was quick, yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to. Sometimes people like to hear where you went, what you did. You don't care. Okay, that's all. See, that's what I'm talking about. Apathy, right. And I said that for a reason, because what is apathy? What does this say? What does this say right here?
Apathy is a state of indifference.
Absolutely,
like when you don't care or just
exactly.
So, and you don't want to have that type of mentality. When in your marriage and in your relationship, because it'll lead to a lot of issues and problems, right?
Right. You lack passion, you lack motivation, you lack desire, you lack, and it's possibly, due to a lot of different things. And we're going to talk about them really quick tonight, because we have such a busy night and such a busy, I had such a busy day today, but I'm feeling myself with this blue, and I'm feeling my husband with this blue. Like, you look cute with this blue. I was kind of feeling a little apathy earlier, but now I feel a little something else with this blue.
We didn't even plan it.
We didn't even plan it. You're right. So okay,
so
it's good.
Now you had a little story or whatever that you want to share
about apathy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't really have necessarily a story about apathy, but you can, apathy can happen for many different reasons. Emotional suppression, it can happen. A lot of times you're like, well, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even know what that is. You should, because a lot of marriages, like when you go to church or when you go to the grocery store, you go to different places, they're in a place of apathy where they're lacking that passion, where they're lacking the fun, where they're lacking the conversation, where they're lacking the care, they're lacking that. And see, my husband's trying to just make me pull over here, but it's good.
Get close to me.
You want you okay, close to you.
So you're saying that apathy is bad.
It is
And
very bad.
And so going through the motions, and you see a lot of people in relationships and marriages doing that, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you fix it, or give an example of what would be like? Basically, sometimes when you're apathetic, you're not really acknowledging the problem.
Right.
So what was the story you had? The story right there.
Oh, well,
you want to read
I gotta
it?
read. Okay. Yeah. All right. So basically, a couple not acknowledging an unhappy marriage as they go through the motions of necessity. So I'll basically just talking about, a lot of times you be just going through the motions. You're going through the motions in relationship. You're going through the motions in things that you would much rather have passion about. You much rather have goodness and laughter in life, and feel like you're building something, feel like you're making positive impacts, and you're not doing that. You're not making those positive impacts. You're not making that connection. And for example, like this particular story, like you put a kid to bed, the toys are somewhat put back in place, and they stare at the television as bedtime quickly creeps up, and he looks her way. It has a romantic intention, but it evaporates as fast as it came.
So, going through the motions, putting the kids to bed, not conversating, sitting in the same room, maybe not engaging each other. And that sometimes you can be in the same spot and just enjoy each other and be quiet.
Yeah.
But if it's constant, right? That's what we're talking about, where there's no effort being put in, and then when you feel like, oh, okay, well, maybe I do want to do something, but now, she might not like it, or she might be, or I don't feel like it. Or
right. Like this particular story in this particular instance is like, you after you go through the motions, working all day, doing whatever it is you got to do, and then you kind of have that romantic attention, but then it goes away as quickly as it came, because like and maybe in the guy's head he thinking like, okay, it's too much work. He thinks that he's mentally resigned to self satisfaction. He'll just figure out some other kind of way to really fulfill himself. And she weakly smiles, way, and in her mind races a million different thoughts. Okay, one of them is, okay, I'm not desired to my husband. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why he's not making that intention. I kind of felt like he would have made intentions for me, but maybe, he doesn't want me anymore. And in her heart, she believes a lie.
So sometimes non-communication
absolutely
can make your spouse feel less desirable, because you don't communicate your intention. You don't communicate what you want from them. And that's important, just because if you don't tell your spouse how you appreciate them, your desire for them, then they'll eventually feel that they are not desirable, because you're not communicating that to them. And that's a need that they need, right?
Absolutely. So this story ends by like they exchange a little dry peck on the lips or on the cheek, and like, I love you and good night. And they missed a moment. They missed that moment of connection. They missed that moment of intimacy. Absolutely. And people think, okay, well, that's not gonna happen to my marriage, that's not gonna happen to me, that's not gonna be anything that I should be worrying about. Yeah, it can happen to any marriage. It can happen to any marriage. There has been times, even in our relationship, where we've had moments and had periods of apathy, and that we had to really like nip in the bud, because apathy leads to so many other bad things. They're like in this particular instance where this gentleman, he had romantic intentions kind of to his wife, but then he was like, oh, that's too much work. Like she wasn't enough to, get her to that place.
Right. Worth the effort.
Worth the effort. And she was, but then she was thinking that, he, didn't even desire her. Well, he did, but he just was being lazy and didn't want to put that effort in. And then she was also being lazy because she didn't want to put effort in to try to pull it out of him. So both people end up losing because of that situation. So, apathy again is saying, kind of like that. I don't care attitude.
Right. So one thing that we want to just talk to you guys tonight and just encourage you guys really and briefly is that when you may or may not recognize those signs, or do recognize the signs, and you want to have the ability to be able to fight for it.
Yeah.
Being able to fight for your marriage. Fighting for your marriage is super important.
Yeah.
You know, in today's times, there's lots of people who have gone through certain things and have been together for a while, and all of a sudden, you know, something comes up and now they don't have that desire to be together, or may have that desire but don't want to fight for it. So one thing about apathy is that you have to hit it head on by fighting for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, definitely we're going to be quick tonight, but it, you know, if you are feeling apathetic, or if you're feeling like your relationship is dry, if you feel like your relationship is out of, you know, just not where it should be, that can be fixed. Apathy can be fixed. Your relationship can be rejuvenated. You know, obviously we've been married for over 20 years, and we've had, you know, a number of ups and downs. But that our saving grace is basically that we know that we agree that we are one, and that we're going to fight and continue to fight for each other. So basically, if you're willing to fight for your marriage, we're going to give you kind of 5 tools to be able to do that. And as you take those 5 tools, you just apply it in your relationship, and it's going to bless you.
All right. So how do you fight apathy? Number one is that you have to find the problem.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really just making the thing and say, hey, you know what? There's some things going on, or I might not even understand it, but we have to address it. Not sweeping stuff under the rug, not communicating.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe having bad habits in the marriage.
Yeah.
Right. Or
absolutely. What kind of bad habits has your marriage fallen into? You all just eat and go to sleep. Y'all don't really just talk to one another that much. Not really a deep conversation, or just one or the other stay out too late, or, you know, whatever the case is, you can really miss the mark if you don't identify those problems. You know what I'm saying? What's the problem? Like, you know, if you're unsatisfied in an area, whether has your marriage become like sexless, or do you not have enough sex in your marriage? That's a thing. That is a thing.
That's a big thing.
It's a huge thing, especially in Christian marriages, because we're so busy. We're so busy. That's okay, honey. They can hear me. They're so busy. Stop hitting me under this table, and they're gonna hit me under the table.
I did not hit you.
Yes, that's hitting you. See, or does your husband hit you under the table? Gosh. Anyways,
trying to get the producer to do the right thing.
Oh my God, you're the producer. I'm the talent.
But it's the talent.
But as you again, like I was saying, in Christian marriages, a lot of times, people can really miss it. Like, you know, a lot of times church people are super busy. We are so busy going to church that we not have, in our marriages, we not have a lot of sex. But sometimes when they're not supposed to be, the people are, you know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that you're doing the focus in the proper way, and that you're doing the right things. So, you know, identify that you don't let your marriage be that. Okay. Also, you know, what's your communication like? Like I said, are you just eating and going to sleep? What are your thoughts when you think about your spouse? When you think about your husband, or when you think about your wife, what's your thoughts? What's your mood? How do you feel?
Right. Does your spouse make you smile, or does they make you frown, or
right?
Whatever,
or be like,
ugh, maybe a desire,
like, do you loathe?
So that should be a self-check. You know, if you're having those thoughts about your spouse and it doesn't bring something pleasant to you, then you're probably experiencing a form of apathy. And then the way to battle or to find that problem is to reconnect, especially through communication. So you have to be like, you know, hey, honey, you know, I feel like this. I feel like I'm not getting enough attention from you. I feel like I'm not getting enough desire from you. And the reason might be why is because they have a feeling as well. But until you guys talk about it, you start getting to a marriage that can go through emotions. And then that'll lead to something that's less desirable, something that's not fulfilling, and something that's not enjoyable.
All right, exactly. And so when you're doing that reconnection, one of the biggest things, like if it's a serious situation, then you might need to see a therapist, you might need to see a pastoral or ministerial, help. You might need to seek help in that sense. But if not, you just gotta really, if your spouse is your best friend, or if they're not your best friend, make them your best friend. What are things that make a person your best friend? Sharing stuff, communicating, doing things together, laughing together, talking together, sharing secrets. Do those things to make your spouse your best friend. Because a lot of times people have the misconception that somebody else is their best friend. outside of your marriage. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Let's not get it twisted, guys and gals.
Mm-hmm.
The man or the wife, the husband or the wife, you guys are each other's best friend. And if you're not that, you need to make it that. But you got to avoid overreacting to things. You got to avoid being thin-skinned. You got to not play the blame game. Not engage in personal attacks. All of these types of things that you got to do to not just allow your marriage to just be driven into this dry place.
Right.
And avoid narcissism. This is not even in my notes, but this is another thing that avoid narcissistic behavior. Avoid it. Don't be so doggone self-centered. The Bible even talks about, if you come into a place, you basically take the lower seat unless somebody give you the higher seat. Even in your relationship, you take the spirit of humility, the spirit of preferability. You let somebody prefer over you. All right. So, do that and allow yourself to reconnect in places where you may not have connected before.
And all that is action.
Absolutely.
And it's going to take effort. So we were talking about the way to avoid apathy is to fight for it. So you have to put the effort in. If you're not willing to reconnect with the action and making sure that action is something that is tangible, that's going to help your marriage, and most of the time the basis of that is communication, then you're just going to be going in circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And who wants to go in circles? That is not what God has for you, for your marriage. It should be something enjoyable. It should be something that's a lifetime partnership that gets better and better each day.
Yeah.
Problems come, storms are going to come, but who better to weather the storm with your best friend, the person that God is giving you to be with. So, when you are taking that time, when you don't take that time to reconnect, and it should be just part of your daily checklist, your monthly checklist. Am I reconnecting with my spouse at some point in time, on a weekly, daily, sometime? And that's just a guard or a good foundation or even a fence to help your marriage be successful.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to have that conversation. Don't be afraid to talk to your spouse. Don't be afraid to talk to the person that you love. A lot of times people, and that's my fault, I'm sorry. A lot of times some people, they don't want to talk to their spouse because they don't want to build up nothing. They want to stir up no mess. You know what I'm saying? But you got to talk to, even have hard conversations, because if you don't have hard conversations, then you won't have that person as a confidant. You won't be able to, I can talk to, I feel like I can talk to you about anything, whether it's an uncomfortable conversation, whether you really want to hear it or not. I feel like I can bring that conversation to you, even if it's a situation that makes you uncomfortable personally. If it's, something like that, I feel like I can talk to you, and you should be able to talk to your spouse, bring it to the table and be able to have that conversation. All right. The next thing that you want to do is you want to take initiative, and you want to make opportunities that designate that time for you guys to spend together, and designate adult time, especially if you got a little kid, you know what I'm saying? Or a bunch of little kids like we have a bunch of little kids, and I had no babysitter. I couldn't drop my boys off at my mom's house. My mom had gone on to be with the Lord. And even prior to that, my family lived in Chicago. So it wasn't like I could just drop my kids off at somebody's house and they watch them. I don't even understand that kind of concept. I can't really even, talk to people about that, because I never had that. My kids went to work with me. You know what I'm saying? So I never had that kind of thing. I keep telling my kids, if something wrong with you, it's my fault, because you spend most of your time with me. But you got to arrange that time, and we had to do that. And we made some mistakes early on because of that, because I didn't have that type of opportunity that we should have maybe spent more time or did more things together and made better arrangements to do those things. But we learned. You got to start somewhere. Start dating each other again. Start doing things that are fun. Change up the role, because you're a different person. So change up that role.
And with kids, you have to have that initiative to be able to make them feel involved in the family, because it's a unit. So you have to have that family time for your kids, and you also have that time for yourself. The one thing I think people don't understand is that in marriage, Your children want your marriage to be successful because they want a successful family.
Yeah.
And a part of that, and one thing that's really important that people overlook, is that doesn't change. I don't care if you've been married 1 year or 50 years. You
Yeah.
start talking about leaving mama and daddy and your kids is 50, they still be affected.
They're
And
still gonna be
you're
affected
70 or
and
80 years
disappointed.
old, it'll still have an effect on you because you didn't take the initiative to arrange opportunities. Don't let divorce be the answer to problems. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be the solution, the first solution
Yeah.
to a problem, because no matter if your children are 5 or 50, it can still affect them. So taking that initiative to make sure that you have good family time and then good relationship time affects not only your relationship as husband and wife, but it's going to affect your relationship as the family unit.
Yes, absolutely. You know, again, no matter how old you are, if your parents are having an unsuccessful relationship, it is going to affect those children. Even if they're adults, it's going to affect the family. It affects the foundation. So again, take those initiatives to make sure that you are and being intentional about your love. We sound like a broken record sometimes because we keep repeating ourselves for a bunch of different problems, same solutions. Bunch of different problems. A lot of times people don't really, register with some of those problems, but there are a bunch of different problems, same solutions. Be intentional about your love for one another. Be intentional about making sure that you're having conversations. Pay attention, because a lot of times it's easy to lie about how you feeling. It's easy to lie, but it's not easy to lie about. I saw a post today that says, if you're gonna date somebody that does not is not spiritual or something like that, because they have discernment. Or they don't date anybody with discernment, because they're gonna either dream about it, they're gonna hear about it, they're gonna smell it, something's gonna happen. They're gonna know that something is not right. So don't date anybody that has discernment. In your relationship with your spouse, learn your spouse, pay attention to them, and even if they're not being honest about how they're feeling, you'll be able to sense how they're really feeling, and you'll be able to pull that out, and you'll be able to get to the root of nonsense before it becomes a real big issue. So again, take that initiative, making a place, to a safe place to talk to your spouse, but also, make sure that you not letting them, bad impressions. You got to keep that over and over again. Hey, Sister Hazelette Crosby, make sure that you're doing that over and over and over again, making sure that you are being intentional about your love and about your relationship.
And if you do have bad impressions, erase them or remove them and make good ones.
Absolutely.
I made a post about image being everything as far as certain things. I was actually talking about my job, but that image that you present in your family unit is important too. And sometimes, your family gets to see the best and worst of you.
Yeah.
So making sure to fight apathy is that when you have those worst moments, you come back and fight it with some good moments.
Absolutely.
Some good images.
Yeah, for sure.
Mom and dad may have an argument, but then after that argument, you show the reconciliation, especially if you argued in front of your children.
Absolutely.
Very,
absolutely.
very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And try not to argue in front of your children. I don't care how old they are, but if you do argue in front of your children, because that happens sometimes, don't be disrespectful. You shouldn't be disrespectful to your spouse anyways. You shouldn't be like, you're a big dummy. You should never call your spouse out of their name. And you should never be like, shut up, or saying things that are demeaning like that. You just never should do that. It's hard to backtrack from that behavior, because those behaviors are behaviors of disrespect. Do not disrespect your spouse. All right.
All right, number 4, one thing that I like talking about is to fight apathy, is that you need to dream together.
Absolutely.
And that's something I think that we've done more as we've been longer. We've been married longer.
Yeah.
Dreaming together, sharing what is your ideal situation for your family. Like, one thing is, like, we like to travel, we like to do certain things, we like to be in certain atmospheres, and then so a lot of times we could just be sitting together, taking a bath together, something, and say like, hey, here's our dream, and here's the dream that I like to work towards, a goal. Let's make it a reality. And a lot of times I've learned things about you. Be like, oh wow, that's something that I knew that I sort of wanted or I didn't
Yeah.
know, but that's cool. Let's work toward that because we're communicating.
Yeah.
And but when you dream together, that does that one thing, that foundation is communication.
Yeah.
It gets you talking.
It does.
It gets you talking. And and then dreaming together is also, like we talk about, hope and having a hope for things, but it's also setting a foundation for your future marriage,
Yeah,
and for your future generation.
Absolutely. And we pray that all the time, that God will bless our future generations. I was praying for my children and my children's children today, praying for them, hoping and dreaming. But in my hoping and dreaming, I'm hoping and dreaming that we are there together to be that foundation, and we are there to really push forward and to be a platform that our children can grow and our grandchildren can grow and stand on. And finally, there's something that people like, as singles especially. I saw a post today on social media, and I gotta get her on because she's hilarious, but she's a great girl, Dr. Juanita. And she was talking about singleness. Did you see that?
Too. And I was gonna tell you, I was like, man,
yeah,
I couldn't answer some of those questions. I was thinking, I was like, wow,
I know.
That's really something to think about.
It is, but I don't know. Like part of it though, a part of me felt like it may have been a lot. It may have been too much.
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of it, like sometimes it's just okay to know that their favorite color is blue.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some of the other things, like I feel like you have to have a resume. And again, people don't understand that the beginning part of marriage is not where it's hard.
Right.
It's just, that's a lot of chemistry, a lot of, of course there's learning. And of course, their favorite color being blue is not super important, but it's more important than what you think.
Yeah, it is.
Because it tells you that, something about that person, but it also tells that person that you pay attention to what's important to them or what they like.
It is part of it. If my favorite color is black and you don't like black, and I want black drapes and black things all in my house.
That's
like,
the issue.
Is your favorite color
so
black?
Dark.
So dark. Yeah. Oh, because I worship it. Or whatever it is.
Right.
But it was actually it was a good thought. But on the other hand, she was coming from a thing of at certain points and certain relationships and times, there needs to be certain things because your things. I don't want to be unequally yoked with somebody that doesn't have my dream.
Absolutely. So she was saying at 36, she doesn't care what color, what your favorite color is. She was saying, she mentally, where are you financially? What are your goals?
Who affects you? Who is basically, who do you look up
to? Who influences you? Who's your greatest? Those are excellent questions. Again, and those are for single people, but those are also great questions if you're married. You know what I'm saying? Who influences who's your husband's mentor? Right. Who is the person that your husband looks up to and models his life after? Does he model his life after the brothers? You know what I'm saying? Does he am I even allowed to do that? But I'm probably not. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for doing that later. But anyways, it's who governs his life or his lifestyle. So those are things that you want to ask as you go. Are they looking? Do they have a spiritual leader that they're kind of modeling after and following after, or are they following after somebody on TV or something? Who inspires them to be the man that they are or to be the woman that they are? Are they watching Housewives of Atlanta all the time, and that's how they want to act and be?
Right. And because is that what you want? Drama and ratchetness in your life.
Right.
All those things, because, like you said, and having hard work. Marriage is, like you said, it's not hard work in the beginning. No. And it's really not hard work at all as far as the marriage, but it's hard work to keep it successful. Absolutely. To keep it going. And because you have to put effort to it. But anything that is valuable, it takes effort. It takes a diamond gets its value from being under pressure for so long. A clam that you find, or a pearl that you find, a clam has been oyster has been pressurized. It takes work because it's something that you value. Absolutely. Like I
was looking at again another social media post, and I talked to a mother at our church, Mother Tucson, on Sunday, and I congratulated her on her her 68 years of marriage, her and Pop Tucson. She just laughed. She's like, it's just this. She's like, it took prayer. And I said, yes, it does. It takes prayer. Looking at them, and I looked at the pictures of their children and their grandchildren and their great grandchildren. Mm-hmm. What a wonderful legacy that they have, but it did not go without work. It did not go without work.
Mm-hmm.
In your life, your legacy, your love, it will not be good. We make it look easy.
Yeah.
Girl.
It's hard work.
It is hard work. We work at it.
It's good work.
It is good work. And it's rewarding. And it's not work like drudgery every day. Mm-hmm. There are so many periods, months and years. Sometimes it's just good. Mm-hmm. It's just goodness. We're just having a good time enjoying one another. But then there's other times where we have to really make intentional efforts to do what is necessary to make our life and our love and our relationship be what it needs to be. So
very true. Yeah. Very true. So that's pretty much it. Our topic tonight was apathy. And just in a recap is that if you are in an apathetic situation, the best mm-hmm. way to get out of that and for your relationship is to fight for it.
Yeah.
And to make sure that you're putting effort into your marriage, making sure that you're communicating and making sure that you're showing everything to your spouse that they need to feel that they appreciate it, that they're loved and valued. And we gave them five ways to fight for it or how to do it. And those mm-hmm. things as a recap were what? What are those 5 things?
Find the problem, mm-hmm. Reconnect, take the initiative, dream together, and understand that marriage, it really is hard work, but it is good work. Because God wants you married. He doesn't just want you married. He wants you happy. He wants you happy.
Definitely. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. God bless you guys. To those that are on Instagram, you guys watch this in our live version. You can go back and watch it and follow us mm-hmm. on Instagram in the corner, Facebook at Wattsup Entertainment, YouTube, Wattsup Video, and Instagram, Wattsup Entertainment. We appreciate you tuning in. So please like and share this with somebody.
Next week we're going to have a new producer next week.
Yeah. So we're starting to expand, and so we'll be able to engage more, and we'll have to do all the technical stuff. And we're definitely going to bring people in and have some good stuff coming up. And we definitely want to hear from you. Yeah. So if you have topics that we'd like for us to discuss or like for us to talk about, send them in the DMs.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about, because we're praying for you.
Yeah, and absolutely.
We love you guys. So we will see you next week. This has been Frederick and Jean Watts.
And this is Love in 60 Seconds. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Well, guys, we have to wrap it up this evening. We really hope that you've enjoyed our conversation.
Yes, this conversation has been amazing, and we want you to tune in again next time so that we can discuss more of these amazing topics and these topics of interest. Then don't forget to DM us, contact us, reach out to us, and we will definitely respond back.
This has been Love in 60 Seconds. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Good night, everybody.
60.